What's going on, y'all? I'm Czar, and in this video, I want to show you the 32C VIP from Harrison. No, this does not stand for very important plugin, but this stands for Vocal Intensity Processor. So this plugin is for vocals, and it's meant for vocals and broadcasts, podcast vocals, spoken word, for those type vocals, and it's meant to be very easy to use and quick to dial in. So let's go over the controls, and then I'll show you what this sounds like on some vocals as well as some podcast vocals. So very easy to use controls here. Under the filter sections, we have the same filters from the Harrison console, and that's your high pass filter and a low pass filter. In between, you have a bright button, which is going to add a high shelf, and a bump, which is going to add a resonant bump at the cutoff frequency on the high pass filter. Here you can turn the analyzer on, and intensity, this is going to be the input. This is going to drive the input into the leveler, which is the style of compression that this plugin is using to level the vocals. And I'm pretty sure this is the same leveler from the 32C channel strip. What you don't see on the face of this plugin is that there is a limiter built in that's always on, and it's fixed at negative 1.5 dB. And you've got a K12 output meter here to help you, check your output levels. All right, so I've got this on a vocal here. This vocal was recorded on a ribbon microphone, so it's a little dark, and that'll be good for us to brighten this up with the 32C vocal intensity processor. All right, so with everything bypassed and off, just default settings, I'll let you hear what this vocal sounds like. All right, so the vocal is a little buried there, but let's start with the filters. So I'm going to, looking at I didn't turn the analyzer on. I'm just going to play the beginning of this just so you can see what it's doing on the frequency here. So I can see we have some low frequency information here on this vocal that I don't need. So I'm going to set the high pass. Let's go to 100. All right, and then the intensity, I'm going to slowly turn this up. So we're going to feed more input gain into the leveler, and we'll get our level set that way for the vocal. Let's get it up above this guitar.
Giving you up has me down and hurting again. A stupid decision made by the battle inside my head. My girls told me that I could do better. I listen to them and I'm not doing better. No.
All right, so already a lot better. Let's add this bright switch in.
Giving you up has me down and hurting again. A stupid decision made by the battle inside my head. My girls told me that I could do better. I listen to them and I'm not doing better. No.
So that adds a very noticeable high shelf there. And if it's too bright, really the only option you have here is to roll back this low pass some. So I'm going to roll that back some. And now let's add the resonant bump, which you can see this icon change to here to show you that you have a bump now on the high pass filter. And what I find is this bump really helps even out what you get from that high end boost there. So it's not as super bright as this bright can make it sound. And so let's listen to what we got now.
Giving you up has me down and hurting again. A stupid decision made by the battle inside my head. My girls told me that I could do better. I listen to them and I'm not doing better. No.
All right, I'm going to play it one last time, and we're going to bring it in and out so you can hear what it's doing.
Giving you up has me down and hurting again. A stupid decision made by the battle inside my head. My girls told me that could do better. I listen to him and I'm not doing better. No.
All right, so there's a look at it on vocals. So I'll give the bright switch can easily be too bright on a lot of vocals. I chose this vocal because it was recorded with the ribbon mic, so it was a little darker, but a lot of other vocals that I have, if I kick this bright switch in, it's going to be too bright. So I do wish that you had, and I understand that this wants to be easy, very easy to use, but I kind of wish it had two bright switches, kind of a off and then maybe like a medium and then the bright that we have set here. And kind of the same thing as the bump too, just to give you a little more versatility. But I was able to get a good sounding vocal. I didn't have to cut a bunch of frequencies and do all that. So I was able to dial something in really quickly with this, which is impressive, but that bright switch can just easily be too bright for a lot of vocals, I find. Let's take a look at it now on a podcast vocal. So I've got a session up here with my podcast, the Faders Up Podcast, which we describe as a podcast about pro audio and beyond. And I have the 32C vocal intensity processor on all four of us. And normally for the podcast, I use a string of Waves plugins, which is normally like the Waves MV2 and then like a Pultec EQ. But for this one, this episode will be coming out this Friday, depending on when you're listening to this, of course. But only plugin, and you can see, only plugin I have on here is the 32C VIP. So I'm going to play just parts of each one of our vocals, and I'm going to bring the 32C VIP in and out. On all of these vocals, I have the resonant bump as well as the bright engaged, and I've got the high pass filter, and I think through all of them, I'll probably got different intensity levels on them, but they're all using that high-end boost as well as that bump. And what I'm playing here is a segment that we call Who's Been Pushing Faders Up, where we just talk about what we've been working on recently.
Studio. Just recently purchased the Behringer PowerPlay P16 headphone setup, so artists can have their own separate headphone mix. And I got that because I've been working more with singer-songwriter, choreographer Lacey Mason, and she like her headphones loud, man. So I'm gonna let her have her headphones as loud as she want, while I still listen at a moderate level.
A reasonable level,
right?
Unlike these artists who want to freaking blow our eardrums away,
man. And then
I'm still working on these singles that I'm about to drop in the winter. One of the mixes is pretty close, so that's probably gonna be the first one I'm gonna release. So just working on my releases for the rest of the year. These songs are old, so we just now releasing those. So I didn't really have to do much for them because they was already mixed. So Faders Up.
Man, my internal faders are through the roof right now.
I like it. I like to hear it.
Yeah, it's really good. I think what I set out to do this year is starting to trickle in and manifest. I'm going to be speaking to a class at TSU about music production. I think TSU finally, and I mean finally, has a music production track or some sort of major or like a sub major. Like maybe you have to be a music major, then major, and then concentrate in music production. That was not there when I was there. So it's encouraging to know that. Like, how you gonna be in the recording capital of this side of the Mississippi and not have a music production track? No, faders.
I was like, wait, what?
So I met with Truth yesterday, and we're pretty close to installing a new patch bay in the studio, because after many nights of confusion and frustration of why certain things weren't working, we finally determined that it was the patch bay. So got a new patch bay, which is always fun hooking up. A lot of bending over, crawling, and getting behind stuff.
Ooh, that sounds like my type of night.
I knew there was a joke in there. I just didn't want to say nothing.
That's what she said.
So the 32C vocal intensity processor is night and day on podcast vocals. And podcasting vocals is something, you know, unlike music vocals, I'm not digging in trying to find bad frequencies and cut them and do a lot. With podcasting, when I'm editing podcast vocals, I want something that's quick and easy, and this is definitely that. My favorite use for this right now is podcast vocals. I really don't see myself using this in mixing unless maybe I'm doing a rough mix and I'm just trying to get something dialed in really quickly so the artist can hear it before they leave the studio. But for podcast vocals, this is really where this shines to me. So I will have a link in the description if you want to check this out and learn more about it. And, you know, if you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. If you want to continue to see content from me, you know what to do. All right, any questions, comments, let me know, and I'll catch y'all next time.